Goku is an adult man with big, throbbing muscles. He shouldn't sound like a woman. It threatens my masculinity. That is a very exaggerated version of some of the comments that I got in my video about why Goku sounds the way he does in Japanese. That video has done very well since I released it in June of last year. It's gotten over 20,000 views. It keeps getting views to this day, and it's got over 1,000 comments. Now, granted, some of those comments are mine because I tend to reply to every comment, but still, it got a lot of comments. It's not all that surprising though, because YouTube thrives on conflict. And talking about Goku's Japanese voice, well, that definitely sparks conflict because there's a very specific group of people who absolutely detest it. So today I want to go over a selection of the comments in my Why Ignorant DBZ Fans Hate Goku's Japanese Voice video. Hey guys, Tony here. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome! I appreciate you checking out this video. So my background is in Japanese language and linguistics. I like to talk about Dragon Ball, anime localization, and some general anime stuff. If that sounds interesting to you, hit the subscribe button, leave me a like, leave me a comment. I would greatly appreciate that. Help me grow the channel. All right, let's get into the comments. By the way, if you haven't already and you want to watch the Why Ignorant DBZ Fans Hate Goku's Japanese Voice video, I will include a link down in the description and at the end of the video. You don't have to watch that one first. It certainly would help, but you don't have to. You can watch it after you're done watching this one. All right, let's go to comment number 1.
What I hate the most about the hate from mostly American and male fans is the poorly veiled misogyny and the overwhelming cultural ignorance / Eurocentrism behind it all. They only have the capacity of seeing Dragon Ball, a Japanese property, through the lens of their own embarrassingly limited worldview. That gets tethered to the sexist mindset that any voice above an arbitrary octave is automatically feminine, which they also equate to bad.
I think this person puts it really well, and they describe a certain kind of Dragon Ball fan perfectly. And this kind of Dragon Ball fan, well, they left a lot of comments and you're going to get to see some examples of these individuals. But keep this in mind. It all comes down to the limited worldview.
Weak take. Japanese voice sucks. Is high-pitched and annoying. Not what a grown man should sound like. Japanese or otherwise. The majority of adult men in the show have deeper voices, as they should. Besides Goku. Unlike most other shonen, Goku is an adult in DBZ and should sound like one. Naruto, Luffy, Edward Elric, Deku, Baki, Gon, Ash, Yugi, Tanjiro, Kirito, and Kid Goku are all children. English DBZ gets it right by having a woman voice Kid Goku, then a grown man voice adult Goku, and have the same woman as before voice his child, Gohan. People grow and their voices change. Japan has a habit of almost never changing a voice actor or the character's voice, regardless of aging. It's weird and doesn't make sense. It all comes down to Goku as a grown-ass man who should sound like one.
This is the kind of intelligent take that the previous comment was alluding to. It is so absurd that people like this cannot accept that a man would sound the way Goku sounds. But they can accept that space aliens can turn into giant apes. They can accept that green aliens can create magical orbs that grant people wishes. They can accept that there can be highly advanced and powerful androids. They can accept that a giant pink blob can turn people into cookies and snacks and candy. But they can't accept that Goku has a high-pitched voice. Like, that is the line that they draw with their suspension of disbelief. It is absolutely ridiculous that this person is claiming Goku should sound a certain way. What gives them the right? What gives them the authority to determine that? Where is your evidence? Can you show me evidence that suggests that Goku being voiced by Masako Nozawa into adulthood had some sort of negative impact on the Dragon Ball franchise in Japan? I don't think so. I've never seen that, whether it's in message boards, social media, YouTube videos, articles. I've never come across anything that suggests that in the slightest. It is easy to make the argument that Masako Nozawa, voicing Goku for the past almost 40 years now, has had a positive impact on the Dragon Ball franchise. I can't come up with an argument for it having negative impact on the franchise. Further, the fact that this person doesn't understand how the voice plays into Goku's personality, the fact that he's an eternal shonen type character, doesn't matter if he's 40 or 50, he's always the youthful, energetic guy that is looking forward to the next battle, and he sounds a bit silly, but he sounds positive and kind of funny. That is the shonen character, and he will continue to be that for as long as Dragon Ball is a thing. And the voice contributes to that. But this person does not see it that way because limited worldview, they are not looking at this for what it is. They are not assessing Goku, Dragon Ball, everything as its own thing. They are filtering it through their own limited worldview and trying to push this as an objective reality when it's not. This is their very flawed opinion. And I'm not trying to make the argument here that you should like Goku's Japanese voice. No, I'm talking about facts. Okay, it is a fact that Goku sounds like that. It has been a success. And to argue against that is it's a horrible argument. There's no evidence to suggest that that is a good argument. Let me know in the comments, how would that have positively impacted, right? Making Goku sound deep in the original Japanese. What positive impact would that have had? That would have been more successful than what it is right now. You can't make that argument. You can speculate, maybe, but there's no evidence to suggest that.
I'm sorry, but if she's the reason why Goku's so dumb and childish now, I hate her even more. Goku in Z was mature, smart, and dense, and a little stupid for the humor's sake. But holy crap, if this statement is true, I despise her even more for making Goku more childish and stupid.
I have no idea where this person came to the conclusion that I was saying that Masako Nozawa was responsible for Goku's portrayal in Dragon Ball Super. She's a voice actor. She's not a writer. I didn't say anything to that effect in the original video. And what baffles me is that this person already hates Masako Nozawa and her performance. He pretty clearly states that in the comment. He says, if she's the one responsible for Goku, coming off as more stupid in Super, then he hates her even more. Okay, so it's clear as day right there. So when I said in my video, in the title, why ignorant DBZ fans hate Goku's Japanese voice, this is the kind of person that I was referring to. I was not referring to people that, I think Sean is great, Masako's great, but, I prefer Sean personally. I grew up with that, and so I have that emotional connection to Sean, blah, 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 blah. I'm not talking about that kind of person, okay? That is not an ignorant fan necessarily, right? That's just a person with a preference. This person right here, who has no understanding of how Dragon Ball, how anime is written, has no understanding of what a voice actor does, apparently. I don't know, maybe they just misunderstood me. So sorry, but there is some ignorance going on here, right? They already hated Masako Nozawa and somehow they misinterpreted something I said to reach this weird conclusion. So,
if you aren't Japanese or understand it, wouldn't it be strange to prefer the Japanese version? Of course, you wouldn't understand the nuance of Japanese speech. And if it wasn't what you grew up on, I think it would be unlikely to prefer an obviously female voice for a grown man. I appreciate the video as I am someone that does not like the Japanese voice. It's like nails on chalkboard for me.
This person is making an incredible assumption here. So they're saying if you don't speak Japanese, of course you would prefer to watch it in English or whatever, your dub is, right? Not necessarily. No. Yeah, there are some people that always watch foreign media dubbed as long as they can help it. But there's plenty of people who always watch foreign media in their original language with subtitles, right? Because even if you don't speak Korean or Spanish or French or Italian, whatever it is you're watching, if you're listening and watching, reading the subtitles, like you can piece things together. You can get the nuance of the performance to some extent. You're not going to get everything linguistically. Sure, that's normal. That's fine. But you can still appreciate the performance of the actors, right, in their original language, in the language the media is supposed to be in. So just because it's not in a language that you don't understand doesn't mean that you're going to dismiss like the original thing and immediately go to the dub, right? That's a preference that some people have, but not everybody. And again, like just because it's obviously female, so what? So what? Like that is your problem, your perspective, not an objective reality. I'm not talking about which is better. I'm talking about why Goku's voice is the way it is and why it is the one and only true voice. Whether you like it or not, that is the reality. And then the thing at the end, how Goku's voice sounds like nails on a chalkboard. This is something that comes up again and again in so many of these hateful comments. They use phrases like this, or how it's grating, or it makes my ears hurt. And yeah, sexism. I mean, it comes down to like just female voice bad. Oh, high pitch, no good. Ooh, hurts my ears. But why is it that this isn't the case for so many people around the world? Why is it that this isn't the case for people in Japan, right? Like this is not an objective reality. This is a cultural thing that is in your brain that you think that certain pitches of voices are bad, right? This is your problem, your thing in your head. So again, you imposing this on people. No, sorry, that's not the correct way to handle this.
When I heard Goku's Japanese voice, I hate it. Now I just got used to it. So it's honestly no surprise why some people don't like the Japanese voice.
Yes, absolutely. Plenty of people are surprised the first time they hear Goku's Japanese voice, but they get used to it. The same happened to me. So I originally watched, some of Dragon Ball Z in English, some of Dragon Ball in Spanish, and then at some point I heard Goku's Japanese voice. And yeah, I have this vague recollection that I was surprised. But you know what happened? I came to accept it for what it is. And I came to appreciate it for all of its nuance. And I came to understand that there's a lot more to it than just a high-pitched voice. And I came to see it from a different perspective. But not everybody is like me and you. The people that left some of those horrible comments that I've been reading, yeah, they are trying to impose their worldview on everybody else. Instead of giving Dragon Ball a shot and trying to accept it for what it is and understanding that there is plenty to appreciate in the vocal performance of Masako Nozawa, even if they don't fully comprehend it. No, instead of doing that, they lob insults and say horrible things and insult people who appreciate, even if they appreciate both the English and Japanese. No. If you like the Japanese, you're horrible, you're disgusting, you're something, blah, 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 blah. No, like it's just, yeah. I mean, that's ignorance, right? Like shutting yourself off, refusing to understand something and then lobbing insults. Again, I have no regrets about that title because I was talking about those people, the people who say the ignorant things. I wasn't talking about the people who have a preference. Now, there is some overlap in that Venn diagram, but I don't think that it's a 100% overlap. There's plenty of people who have a preference who are not hateful, horrible individuals.
Not a good look when you insult people who disagree with you on the freaking title. It shows that you're either insecure about your take or something else I'll refrain from saying. Maybe both. And I don't mind Goku's Japanese voice in DB, Z, and GT, mind you. In current Dragon Ball, yeah, you can absolutely tell Masako is almost 90. P.S. Toriyama picking her doesn't make it immediately perfect. Was Toriyama an expert in voice acting too? Praising everything someone does is the exact opposite of admiring their work.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here, but the title thing, I've already talked about it. The ignorant DBZ fans that I'm talking about are the hateful people. And I think this comes off pretty clearly if you actually watch the video till the end. I leave with a pretty positive message and I don't attack people for just having a preference. But there's a lot of sensitive people out there, and there's a lot of people who don't actually watch the video and think about what's said. And, well, this person seems to be one such individual. As for the age thing, yeah, you do hear a difference. And I've said before, it's time that she retired because you don't know what could happen. We've got these remakes of Dragon Ball Super and, of course, Galactic Patrol and all that. We don't know what's going to happen, right? We all want Masako Nozawa to live until she's 200 years old, but reality is reality. That being said, she sounded amazing in Dragon Ball Daima. Yeah, you could hear a difference, but it's pretty damn impressive that at 87 or 88, however old she was when she recorded those lines, like she still sounded as good as she did. As for the PS thing, yes, Akira Toriyama was not a voice casting director, although he probably did have some experience with Dr. Slump because that got adapted into an anime before Dragon Ball. And I think I remember hearing, possibly it was an interview with the Arare voice actress. I think she mentioned that Toriyama was involved somehow. I might be wrong there, but either way, he had some experience with a manga being adapted into an anime already. Whatever the case though, the point that I'm making in the video and here is that it's not really about voice casting and what is the best voice for the character in a general sense. Like, yeah, I agree. Goku does sound a bit weird with that voice, right? Like, it's not every day that you come across a male human being, right, that has that kind of voice. It's uncommon. But that is the voice that Toriyama had in his head. And if we accept that his vision of Goku, his vision of the events of Dragon Ball are the true vision, right? Like if we accept that the manga that he drew is the Dragon Ball story, then why can't this person and many others accept that the voice we have for Goku, right? Masako Nozawa is the voice that he had in his head. Why can't they accept, right, that that is the true definitive voice of Goku? Like any voice actor that replaces Masako Nozawa will be doing an impression of her portrayal of Goku. That is how it will be for as long as Dragon Ball is alive as a franchise. That is the voice Akira Toriyama, as the creator of Goku, as the creator of the Dragon Ball franchise, has the right to decide what Goku sounds like in his own head. And he determined that Masako Nozawa was, well, not only the best choice, but it seems like he ended up going with her voice, right? Like maybe his original voice for Goku in his head wasn't quite the same, but it turned into that because he loved her portrayal so much. And as I've talked about in that video, like already, she influenced how Goku spoke to some degree, right? She helped play up that whole hick vibe that Goku has at times. So he loved her portrayal. And so he has the right to say, right, like that's Goku's voice. And you have no right to disagree with that. You cannot disagree with that. It's an objective reality. That is the voice that he picked. That is the true voice of Goku. Your disagreements are meaningless. Now, you can still have a preference. You can still have an opinion, right? Opinions are like a-holes, right? Like everybody's got one, right? So yeah, you can say what you want, but it doesn't change the reality. And that is what these individuals don't get. You're arguing something that cannot be argued, how it should be, according to you, right? But you don't get to determine what Goku sounds like. Akira Toriyama determined that.
The Japanese voice is just way too goofy. I agree with most fans on this.
First of all, I don't think most Dragon Ball fans hate Goku's Japanese voice. That is a ridiculous statement. And I think it's extremely hard to prove because, first of all, I don't think it's true. I think it's just a vocal minority primarily within the English-speaking world that complains about Goku's Japanese voice. So that is one small subsection. Most people either love it, like it to some degree, or are mostly indifferent. Second, let's go back to the first part of this comment. Goku's voice sounds too goofy in Japanese. It's supposed to sound kind of weird and wacky and silly and cheerful and over the top. First of all, it's anime. This is totally normal in anime. Like pretty much every character in Dragon Ball, to some extent, it sounds exaggerated, right? Like Bulma sounds overly feminine a lot of the times. Like most women in Japan don't speak like Bulma does a lot of the time. Vegeta, over the top, right? Like Piccolo, yeah, in a way he sounds over the top too. Gohan sounds overly formal most of the time. Like most of these characters are not realistic depictions of people. They are characters in an anime. Okay, so Goku is one of these characters, and he's being depicted as this over-the-top, kind of country bumpkin, silly, kind of dumb character, and he's got this very peculiar way of speaking that makes him extremely memorable. The fact that he has one of the most recognizable voices and ways of speaking in all of anime is a testament to the success of Goku's voice. And by voice, I mean the pitch and what he says, like the way that he says it, the language that he uses. That is not an easy accomplishment. That is what so many people in the anime and general character mascot industry strive for. And they hit a home run with Goku. He's supposed to sound weird. He's supposed to sound kind of goofy. That's the point. And if you don't understand that, I mean, that shows your ignorance. That is not an insult. That is just the truth. I'm not insulting anybody here. Like, if you don't comprehend that, that means you don't know how anime works and why Goku sounds the way he does, right? That's all that means. Now, if you still reject that, you say, oh, but that's a bad thing. That now we're getting into a whole different territory. That goes beyond ignorance. So, yeah, problematic comment. I mean, not the worst, I guess you would say, but yeah, it shows a complete misunderstanding of Goku and I guess anime and Dragon Ball in general. Like, yeah, anime characters sound weird. That's normal.
Look, for me personally, she's hard to listen to. All I hear is an old woman. And when she screams, it hurts the ears. Playing an adolescent Goku was fitting, but it was an odd decision to keep her on. She only played young Goku because if it was played by a male child voice actor, they run the risk of their voice breaking in a very noticeable way. So a 50-year-old woman, at the time, being cast to play an adult Goku makes zero sense. To hell with, they did it out of respect.
Let's begin with the last thing that this person says. Oh, they cast Masako Nozawa out of respect? No. They cast her as adult Goku because she did a damn good job. People loved her. And if they would have hired somebody else, there probably would have been backlash. She became so associated with Goku that to change that, I don't think the fans would have reacted well. And this hypothetical reminds me of what happened with Dragon Ball Daima. After episode 2, there was a big backlash in the Japanese fandom because the Japanese voice cast for everybody but Goku had been replaced, right? And so we were like, oh no, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're going to fire the Japanese voice cast and all that. And people were not happy. The Japanese news actually picked this story up because it was enough for the news to want to run a story about this. I'm pretty sure something would have happened if the 23rd Tenkaichi martial arts tournament comes around and then Goku shows up and he's got the blue gi with the umbrella and all that. And then, hey guys, I'm Goku. I don't think the Japanese fans would have reacted well to that. And so clearly it was the right choice to leave her on as Goku in that moment from a business perspective and from a fan perspective. Okay. And Toriyama didn't have a problem with it, obviously. As I've said multiple times, like, he said her voice is the one that he hears in his head. So case closed on that. So just because you don't like something doesn't make it true. Again, another person trying to impose their reality when the objective reality is something different. Now, as for women being cast as male child voice actors, yeah, or characters, yeah, It's very common in Japan. It's very common in American animation. There's nothing wrong with it. It is what it is. There's a practical aspect to it, but also there's tons of very talented female voice actors who can absolutely pull off, roles like Goku, or in the case of American animation, Bart Simpson, Bobby from King of the Hill, etc., etc. They can do a good job. Whether they have, a certain genital between their legs or not is irrelevant.
Well, as one of those ignorant Western fans, JP Goku sounds like a child. And I don't know if you know, but Goku in DBZ is a grown man with a wife and sons. So maybe he shouldn't sound like he did when he was a child.
Number one, he doesn't sound like he did when he was a child. I said it in the video and I'll say it again. Masako Nozawa changes her performance for adult Goku. He does not sound the same. Clearly, you can't tell the difference, but that doesn't mean that the difference doesn't exist. And number two, you don't get to decide how Goku should sound. Akira Toriyama decided how he should sound because he's the creator. If you don't like it, too bad. That's your problem.
I'm sorry, buddy. Goku English dub is just way better. Stop being too nerdy about Japanese anime. I really don't understand why Japanese anime adopts female voice actors for male main characters. I get the respect anime nerds have for original voice actors, but almost 90% of foreign audiences just prefer Sean's iconic Goku voice. No disrespect to her, that voice doesn't fit her at all. Same for Naruto. They could at least change the voice actor to male in Shippuden at least. It's just lazy.
I'm too nerdy about Japanese anime. I don't know why this person is saying Japanese anime. It's, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I like anime. And yes, I'm talking about Goku's Japanese voice in the original video and here. But what I'm really talking about is the fact that, well, Dragon Ball is a Japanese product. It's a result of Akira Toriyama growing up in Japan, experiencing things in Japan, inputting his experiences as a Japanese person and how he interpreted the world through his cultural lens and putting it all on a page. And we got Dragon Ball, right? And that got exported to the outside world. The anime, again, casting females. Maybe that's more common in Japan than in the US animation industry. If it is, then that is, again, part of the history and part of the culture. That product gets exported and we get, what Dragon Ball actually is, what anime is. If you can't accept that, well, then you don't enjoy anime for what it is. You enjoy this image that you have in your head of what it's supposed to be. And again, that is your problem. But this isn't just an anime thing. This is an anything thing, like Squid Game, right? From Korea. Oh, it's too Korean or something. Like, is that what some people say? I don't know what people say about Squid Game, but the same could be said about some Mexican soap opera, right? A novela. Oh, it's too Mexican. Oh, I don't get why Mexicans do it this way. That's your problem, right? Like, the product is the product. It's a result of cultural and societal factors. And if you don't like that, then yeah, that's your problem, right? There's plenty of people that love it.
I'll put it this way. I know everything you talked about in the video very well, and I've never had a problem with Goku's voice in Japanese. And I can easily recognize that voice with my eyes closed and know that it's Goku. But I personally prefer how Goku sounds in English, specifically when he's voiced by Sean Schemmel. And that's the definitive Goku voice for me, and the voice I hear in my head when I think of Goku. And let me say I didn't grow up with an English Goku. I simply prefer his voice in English, and that's it. No one has to have the same taste as me, and prefer the English voice over the Japanese, because I respect all the people who have ever voiced Goku. This is just my taste.
This is a really mature approach, and if everybody took this approach when engaging with people online, well, YouTube and social media would probably collapse because people would stop arguing. But seriously, this person says, like, I know what you're saying and I agree. Well, they're implying that they agree because they're acknowledging the facts that I lay out in the video, right? And then they say, yeah, but my personal preference, right? My definitive Goku is Sean Schemmel, right? But Masako is great too. And everybody's entitled to their own preference and all that. And yes, I completely agree with this. But instead, what people tend to do is say, no, 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 my version is better. You're dumb. My version is better. And I never said that in the original video. The video was never about which is better. Because the way that I see it is they're two different products. And yeah, they're both Dragon Ball. And yes, there's a lot of overlap there, but they're two different products. And simply shoehorning the Japanese voice into the English version, it's not going to work, right? There needs to be changes here and there, and you need to do it very carefully. It might not even be possible to pull it off, but I don't think it's that easy, right? So you're dealing with two different things, and it's not about which is better. They're different. And different things work in different cultures, et cetera, et cetera. And if you're attacking something that you don't understand, well, you're wrong. You're wrong. You don't have the information to properly critique what is going on there. And in my video, I try to lay out some of that information, and hopefully, one or two or three people come to appreciate Goku's Japanese voice a little bit more due to that video. But if they don't, whatever. What I'm sure is that most people around the world appreciate Masako Nozawa and her performance, even if they don't understand Japanese, because there's something there that goes beyond the language barrier. You don't have to know Japanese to appreciate how incredible she is and all that she's done for the Dragon Ball franchise. But let me know what you think. I know I wasn't able to address every single point raised in the comments that I showed you. If I missed anything, tell me what you think down in the comments. Of course, don't forget to like and help me reach 6,000 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one.